Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we cut through the information overload to get you truly well informed. Today, we're plunging into a topic that's, well, foundational to all human connection, especially when support and understanding are needed most. The art and science of empathetic and non-judgmental communication. We all think we're pretty good listeners, right? But what if I told you the way most of us communicate actually hinders connection, especially when it really matters? We've taken a stack of powerful sources for this deep dive, packed with insights from clinical best practices, research on human interaction, and practical, immediately applicable techniques. Our mission is to give you a shortcut to mastering this vital skill, uncovering surprising facts and strategies that can empower healing, foster understanding, and transform your relationships. Whether you're a healthcare professional, a teacher, a manager, or simply a friend supporting someone. Okay, let's unpack this.
Indeed. And, what our sources consistently highlight is that this isn't just about being nice. Empathetic communication is the very cornerstone of effective care and genuine connection. When truly embraced, it helps individuals feel profoundly understood, deeply respected, and genuinely empowered in their healing journey. It's really about creating a space where genuine connection can flourish, making it a powerful force for positive change.
Right. And when we talk about genuine connection, our sources make it clear that everything starts with active listening. This is so much more than just hearing words. It's a crucial component of effective communication that fundamentally differs from, say, competitive listening.
Where you're just waiting to jump in.
Exactly. Or passive listening, where you're barely absorbing anything. What's the real differentiator here? Our sources really emphasize the feedback process.
What's truly fascinating is how that simple feedback loop completely transforms a conversation. Active listening, well, it entails communicating both verbally and nonverbally, that you are intensely interested in what the other person is saying. While actively verifying your understanding, it's about showing up fully, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally.
And speaking of showing up, our sources introduce a wondrously simple yet profoundly effective mnemonic for establishing good nonverbal communication. SOLAR.
Yeah.
It's brilliant in its simplicity, but its impact is anything but. The S stands for sitting squarely facing the client. This isn't just politeness. It actively conveys engagement and presence. It signals, I am here, fully present for you.
That directness, yeah.
Then O is for using an open posture, so avoiding crossed arms or closed-off positions. It subtly signals receptiveness and approachability, essentially saying, I'm open to what you have to say.
Makes you seem more approachable, definitely.
Next, L is for leaning towards the client. This is subtle, but it's a powerful cue. It indicates interest and attentiveness, often without saying a word, kind of drawing you into their space in a non-intrusive way.
Shows you're engaged.
The E is for maintaining good eye contact. This demonstrates interest and respect. But, and this is a critical caveat, our sources stress, always be culturally sensitive.
Oh, absolutely crucial.
Because in some cultures, direct eye contact can actually be seen as disrespectful or even confrontational, so it's more to adjust based on the individual and their background.
You have to read the room, read the person.
And finally, R stands for maintaining a relaxed posture. This isn't about being sloppy or disengaged. It's about conveying a sense of ease, which helps the person you're speaking with feel more comfortable sharing. It reduces that perceived tension.
What's truly remarkable about SOLAR is its almost immediate subconscious effect. Our sources highlight how consistently applying these simple nonverbal cues can break down barriers even before a single word is spoken. It really creates an environment of trust that's often lacking in those initial interactions.
Beyond the nonverbal, the verbal aspects are just as crucial and often overlooked, allowing the person to speak without interruption.
Which is harder than it sounds.
Isn't it? Practicing patience and always asking for clarification of anything that's unclear. When I first read about just not interrupting, it felt so basic. But then you realize how often we jump in, even with good intentions, and derail someone's whole thought process.
That's so true. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole process of empathetic communication is fundamentally about building rapport and establishing trust. Our sources emphasize that what's termed the therapeutic nurse-client relationship in a clinical setting is actually a blueprint for really any professional helping relationship where trust and clear purpose are paramount. This relationship is established with a specific purpose, to facilitate therapeutic communication and actively engage the individual in their care or decision-making process.
That makes perfect sense. It sounds like a complex process that really underpins everything. Our sources bring in nurse theorist Hildegard Peplow, who actually broke down the development of this therapeutic relationship into 3 distinct phases, which I found incredibly insightful. The first is the orientation phase. It's initial and often pretty brief. This is where the support person introduces themselves, gathers essential information, the individual's unique needs, values, beliefs, priorities, and starts to establish that crucial trust and rapport. And there's a really practical framework our sources recommend for these initial introductions, especially in high-stakes environments, called AIDIT.
AIDIT. Yeah, that's a good one.
The A is for acknowledge. Greet the person by name, make eye contact, smile, acknowledge any family or friends present, and always ask for preferred names and pronouns, such a small detail, but it makes a huge difference in conveying respect.
It really does. Shows that you see them as an individual.
The I is for introduce. State your name and role clearly. Sets expectations, builds professionalism. D means duration. Give an estimated timeline for the task or interaction. This manages expectations and can reduce anxiety.
People like to know what to expect.
The E is for explanation. Explain step by step what to expect, answer questions. This empowers the individual by giving them information and a sense of control. And T is for thank you. Express gratitude for their time or cooperation and ensure immediate needs are met. Like in a clinic, making sure their call light is within reach.
And right there, during that orientation phase, protecting an individual's privacy and confidentiality is absolutely paramount. Our sources highlight HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which is, the cornerstone of patient privacy, safeguarding personal health information. This raises an important question, really, about how consistent actions are so much more powerful than just words in building trust. Trust is fundamentally built when individuals experience care providers who are consistently forthright, honest, dependable, reliable. Their actions have to consistently match their words. It's about demonstrating reliability, not just promising it.
That consistency is key. Then we move into the working phase, which is where the bulk of the interaction happens.
Right. This is the main event, so to speak.
And this is where active listening truly shines. The support person leverages it to deeply understand the individual's reasons for seeking care or support, develops a plan, implements interventions, and provides vital education.
Exactly. In this phase, individuals really begin to accept the support person as an educator and guide. The professional uses therapeutic communication techniques to help individuals become more aware of their own thoughts and feelings, and together they mutually develop goals and care plans, offering that vital, reflective, and non-judgmental feedback that helps the individual process their experience.
Working together collaboratively. And finally, we have the termination phase.
The wrap-up.
This happens at the end of a shift, maybe a discharge, or when the defined period of support concludes. It focuses on encouraging the individual to reflect on their progress, reviewing post-support goals, and making community referrals for continued support. It's about ensuring continuity and a smooth transition.
And throughout all of these phases, it is absolutely vital to promote respect and dignity for individuals with mental health and substance use conditions in a culturally appropriate manner. This means not just tolerating, but actively supporting their preferences and involving them and their families inclusively every step of the way. It's really about meeting them where they are.
So if we pull all these pieces together, we arrive at what our sources call therapeutic communication. It's defined as a purposeful, interpersonal, information-transmitting process that ultimately leads to the individual's understanding and participation. It fundamentally differs from just, casual social interaction because it always has a specific goal-oriented purpose for the conversation.
Right, there's an intention behind it.
And now, for the part that I found particularly eye-opening from our sources, the actual techniques you can put into practice today.
Yeah, this is the toolbox. Our sources list a wealth of techniques, and while we can't explore every single one in depth, let's focus on a few that are particularly powerful for building immediate rapport and fostering deeper understanding. One crucial one is acceptance. This acknowledges emotions or messages without necessarily agreeing or disagreeing.
So, for example, if a client says, "I hate taking all this medicine, it makes me feel numb," the nurse might respond, "Yes, I understand." It's validating the feeling, right, not the statement itself.
Precisely. It communicates that you've heard them, you've registered their feeling. Then there's clarification. This asks the individual to define confusing statements for understanding. For instance, if someone says, I feel useless to everyone and everything, you might respond, I'm not sure I understand what you mean by useless. Can you give an example? This isn't about questioning their feeling. It's about seeking to understand their specific meaning behind that word.
I can see how that would cut through a lot of assumptions we might make. Another one our sources highlight is exploring, which just means gathering more information. If someone says, I had to lie about a dark secret, an appropriate response would be something like, if you feel comfortable, tell me more about the situation. It's an invitation, not a demand.
Gentle. Yeah. And that ties beautifully into providing silence. Now, this might feel awkward initially, right? We often feel the need to fill silence.
Totally.
But the profound insight our sources offer is that it's often in those quiet moments, free from the pressure to respond, that individuals truly process their thoughts or maybe feel safe enough to share something profoundly vulnerable. It's a powerful nonverbal way to demonstrate active listening, and it allows that crucial time for self-reflection.
That's a great point. It's almost counterintuitive, but so effective.
Yeah.
And then there's presenting reality. This is about restructuring distorted thoughts with valid information. So if a client insists that there are spiders on the walls, the nurse can calmly state, I see no evidence of spiders on the walls.
Right. It's not arguing with their perception.
No.
It's grounding them in what you observe as reality. It's a fine line, but important.
Very.
And another impactful one is reflecting. This promotes accountability by asking individuals what they think they should do. So if a client asks, do you think I should do this new treatment? A nurse might reply, what do you think the pros and cons are? It empowers them to weigh things up and find their own solutions, rather than just taking direction.
Those examples are incredibly vivid. Out of all these techniques, is there one that you find people struggle with the most, even though it might seem straightforward on paper?
That's a good question. I'd probably say offering hope and also professional touch. Offering hope can be tricky because it absolutely must be genuine and tied to reality. It can't be false reassurance.
Right, like everything will be fine.
Exactly. That just shuts people down. True hope encourages perseverance and resilience without minimizing their struggles. It's nuanced. As for professional touch, well, it can be an incredibly powerful way to communicate caring and empathy, but it must be done respectfully. You always have to consider the individual's preferences, the cultural beliefs, their personal boundaries. It's a tool, not a default action.
And there are crucial caveats here, as our sources really stress.
Uh,
Always ask permission before touching, especially with individuals who might have a history of trauma.
Absolutely essential. Permission first.
They also emphasize avoiding touch with agitated individuals or those experiencing, say, manic or psychotic episodes, as it can actually cause escalation.
Yeah, it can be perceived as threatening in those states.
And importantly, maintaining a larger interpersonal distance is often helpful with individuals experiencing paranoia or psychosis. Just respecting their need for personal space is key.
Now, let's shift focus a bit to potential barriers and non-therapeutic responses. These are things that can derail even the best intentions. What's fascinating here is how common and seemingly innocuous some of these communication pitfalls can be, yet they can severely undermine trust and understanding. We often fall into these traps without even realizing it.
It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Our sources list several common non-therapeutic responses to avoid. One big one that jumped out at me is asking why questions.
Yes, the why question.
It sounds innocent, right? Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
But it can often be interpreted as an accusation. It makes individuals defensive, and it shuts down communication rather than opening it up.
Absolutely. Think about how it feels. It often puts you immediately on the defensive. Another common pitfall is giving personal opinions. This takes away the individual's decision-making autonomy. It subtly imposes your values rather than helping them explore theirs. And perhaps one of the most insidious is providing false reassurances, that don't worry, everything will be all right kind of thing. It can actually discourage individuals from expressing their true, often difficult feelings because they feel dismissed or unheard.
I can totally see how that would lead to isolation.
Yeah.
And beyond those specific responses, there are other common barriers. For instance, using medical jargon or too many technical terms when you're talking to someone who isn't familiar with them.
Creates an instant power imbalance, too.
Definitely. It creates a barrier of understanding and a lack of awareness of one's own biases, fears, feelings, or insecurities that can unconsciously sabotage communication. That's a deep one. Requires real self-reflection.
It truly is. Being self-aware is absolutely foundational. Another really common barrier is giving advice.
Oh, yeah. We all want to fix things.
We do. It often comes from a good place,
Mhm.
wanting to help, but it frequently disempowers the individual by implying they can't figure things out for themselves. Our role is more about guiding them to their own solutions, not providing all the answers. So how do we overcome these barriers then? The sources offer practical strategies. First, always establish a clear goal for the conversation. Know what you're trying to achieve.
Focus. Yes.
Be self-aware of your own nonverbal messages and diligently observe the individual's cues. Are they leaning in, pulling back? And crucially, avoid self-disclosure of personal information. Keep those professional boundaries clear.
Which really comes back to being patient-centered, doesn't it? Providing empathy, respect, and consistently working to gain and maintain trust. And being sensitive to cultural values, beliefs, and practices. Understanding the role of culture in mental health is absolutely crucial. It impacts everything, how symptoms are described, how people seek help, what their support systems look like. A really powerful question a support person can ask is something like, what do you think is wrong? From your perspective, how would you treat your symptoms? This empowers them through their own cultural lens. That's great. Also, use simple, clear, concise language. Avoid the medical terminology or jargon unless you know they understand it. Break information into small chunks, and use teach-back methods to ensure understanding. Have them explain it back to you. This is especially important when individuals are triggered or stressed, as their cognitive processing might be impaired. It ensures the message actually lands.
Good point. And provide anticipatory guidance. Let people know what's coming next to reduce surprises, which can activate stress responses, particularly in trauma survivors. Finally, and this is key for self-improvement, promote self-awareness of personal biases by regularly reflecting on one's own attitudes. It's an ongoing process of learning and adapting. You never really arrive.
So what does this all mean when you're actually putting these principles into practice? Our sources provide some compelling scenarios that demonstrate empathetic communication in various mental health contexts. Let's look at a few examples and discuss the techniques at play.
Sounds good. In scenario 1, we have a 32-year-old male client experiencing profound hopelessness in the context of major depressive disorder. He's expressing a desire to die. The nurse here uses a calm, supportive tone, maintains eye contact, open posture, solar, basically. They actively listen and reflect feelings, saying something like, "It sounds like you're feeling a deep sense of despair," and that can be incredibly overwhelming. You're expressing that things feel hopeless. I hear what you are saying.
Wow.
This is about validation first and foremost, letting the client know they are truly heard without judging or immediately trying to fix it.
I can imagine how vital that immediate validation would be in that moment. And when the client elaborates on feeling useless, the nurse clarifies, offers hope, and offers self. They might ask, I understand you're feeling useless right now, and that's a very difficult place to be. I want you to know we're here to help you through this. We can work together, step by step, to address these feelings and challenges.
Like maybe getting some rest or finding food they can tolerate. Small steps.
You're not alone in this. What steps do you think might be helpful to start with, even small ones? This is beautifully done. It's offering hope, but it's grounded in concrete, manageable steps and offers partnership.
Exactly. It provides both emotional support and a potential pathway forward, however small. Now, in scenario 2, a client is experiencing severe anxiety and agitation. They're pacing rapidly, breathing heavily, appearing dazed. Here, the nurse approaches slowly, calmly, with an open posture, maintaining a respectful distance, using a low-pitched voice. They validate feelings by saying something like, "It looks as though you're feeling very anxious right now. I'm here to help keep you safe. Can you tell me what you're experiencing?"
Okay.
This is crucial. Validating the emotion first, establishing safety, and inviting communication without overwhelming the already agitated individual.
And when the client is maybe breathless and overwhelmed, the nurse validates feelings again and tries to reduce stimuli, perhaps offering a quieter space.
Precisely, saying something like, "I hear you. It sounds like the environment is overwhelming right now, making it hard to think. Let's find a quieter space where we can talk, perhaps this private room. Would that be helpful for you?"
Then guiding them, offering options within that safe space.
Yes, good. And while we move, I'll remind you that you're safe here. We can try some breathing exercises to help calm your body. Would you like me to guide you through that, or would you prefer to just sit quietly for a few minutes? This demonstrates clear steps to reduce distress, but crucially, offers choice within that safety framework.
Choice is so empowering, even in small things.
It really is. Okay, scenario 3. We have a client exhibiting paranoia, perhaps due to schizophrenia, believing the nursing staff is trying to poison them. The nurse here maintains consistent staff assignment if possible, avoids whispering or laughing where the client can see but not hear that can feed into paranoia, uses culturally appropriate eye contact, speaks clearly, and they acknowledge feelings and convey empathy without questioning the delusion directly, saying something like, "That must be very frightening to feel like someone is trying to harm you, and I understand you feel watched. While I don't see anyone trying to poison your food, I want you to feel safe here. What can I do to help you feel more secure with your meal?"
That's such a critical distinction, isn't it? Validating the feeling, the fear, without validating the delusion itself.
Exactly. The core principle is validating the emotion.
And the nurse offers tangible security, stating perhaps, "I can certainly stay with you while you eat. We could also ask the kitchen for a sealed drink or maybe another prepackaged item if that would make you feel more comfortable." This provides concrete reassurance and options, working with the client's perception of threat rather than directly arguing against it.
Yes, working with, not against. And finally, scenario 4. This involves a client with self-injurious behavior, maybe superficial cutting, perhaps in the context of borderline personality disorder. The nurse approaches calmly, neutrally, and very matter-of-factly. The immediate focus has to be on the need for wound care. "I see you have some new cuts on your arm. I need to clean and dress these wounds to prevent infection. Is that okay with you?" That immediate focus on physical safety and care is paramount. Non-judgmental, direct.
And when the client is maybe defensive or withdrawn, the nurse acknowledges the underlying emotion, respects boundaries, but also sets limits, focusing on problem solving for the future.
Right, saying something like, "I understand you were trying to cope with some very difficult feelings. My priority right now is to ensure your physical safety. After we take care of these wounds, it would be helpful if we could talk about what led to this and maybe what coping strategies might be helpful in the future instead of self-harm."
And maybe suggesting a small step.
Yes, like, "Would you be willing to perhaps write down what happened before we discuss it?" Then offering positive reinforcement for any small agreement. "Thank you. That maybe is a start, and I appreciate your willingness to consider it. We can work together on this."
Wow, that's a masterclass in setting boundaries with empathy and gently shifting towards a problem-solving mindset, away from the immediate crisis behavior. What an incredible deep dive into empathetic and non-judgmental communication. We've really covered how foundational it is, from the profound power of active listening and building trust
Solar 8.
to mastering those essential verbal and nonverbal techniques, and even identifying and overcoming those common, sometimes tricky barriers. These insights from our source material truly equip you with powerful, practical communication tools. And they're applicable far beyond any clinical setting, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And that's really the core message here. By consciously and consistently applying these techniques, you don't just communicate better, you actively foster a safe, trusting, and empathetic environment. That environment profoundly supports individuals in their mental health journeys, sure, but it also helps you truly connect with anyone in need of understanding: colleagues, family, friends. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about making a tangible difference in the world through the fundamental power of human connection. And this raises an important question, I think, for everyone listening. How might consciously applying even just one of these communication techniques daily, even in non-clinical settings, transform your relationships and your ability to truly understand others?
That's a powerful thought to leave you with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take these concepts, reflect on them, and maybe try practicing some of these skills in your own life. We'll catch you on the next one.